What is up, everybody? Escape 211 here, and we are getting back into the Is It Good series today, and we are going to focus on the pulse cannons. This is a weapon a lot of people have asked me about. Is it worth getting? Should I get them? What about certain deals that have them? All that stuff. So we want to simply know, is the pulse cannon good? Now, there's some caveats to this one, but I will say overall, yes, the pulse cannon is a solid weapon. And here is why. Number one, highest sustained damage. Now, sustained damage weapons are pretty prevalent in this game. You got auto cannons, you got pulse cannons, you got plasma cannons, you got carbines. Those are the core ones. And of each of those, the pulse cannons have the highest sustained damage if you look at them over the course of their upgrade path. Pulse cannon 4s have a higher damage than the auto cannon 4. Pulse Cannon 6s have a higher damage than the Plasma Cannon 6, and most surprisingly, Pulse Cannon 8s have a higher damage than the Carbine 8s. Yes, that's true. The rare weapon, when it's upgraded to equivalent levels to the Carbine 8s, has a higher damage value to it. Now, that's just the core damage value. There are definitely reasons to pick the Carbine over the Pulse Cannon, vice versa. I mean, there's pros and cons. Maybe we can talk about that for another video, but simply put, the damage values on the pulse cannon as a sustained damage weapon are higher than any other in the game. Number two, fastest reload. One of the most important things that you want, especially when you're talking sustained damage, is to sustain damage as much as possible. If you're a tank or if you're a guy with a shield and you're getting up in the enemy's face, you want to out-damage him. And part of that is keeping your weapon up the entire time. The pulse cannon has the shortest reload in the game. It is shorter than any other sustained damage weapon, of course, and bearing the auto recharging type weapons like a thermal lance or the railgun or the stasis beam, it has the fastest traditional reload at 5.1 seconds. The next closest would be the carbines or the plasmas, but each of those are over a second longer. They're 6.2 seconds to do their reload. So it has the quickest reload in the game, and that's a big deal when you are getting in the enemy's face. Number three, late game potential. Now, this is specifically talking about the Pulse Cannon 8. As I've said in previous videos, 2 energy, 4 energy, and even 6 energy weapons lose a lot of value just because they have poor late game potential. 6 might be the only one with some of the lighter mechs, but even in that case, there may be better loadouts that you can do that use higher energy weapons, and you're still not going to use them too much. So I want to shelf the idea of Pulse Cannon 4s and 6s for right now, and pretty much for this whole conversation, because really, neither of those are weapons that I would invest in. But the Pulse Cannon 8 is a good late game weapon. Now, if you don't get or can't get the Carbine 8, this is an equivalent weapon for late game. Like I said, there's pros and cons to either the Pulse Cannon 8 or the Carbine 8, but you also have to consider the idea of the cost and the upgrade and all of that. And the Carbine 8s are really expensive to unlock. So there's a lot of good possible potential reason to just get the Pulse Cannon 8s and maybe even skip the Carbine 8s. That's an option that I think is pretty viable, even though I think both weapons are fantastic. So it really does fill a gap in your progress where you want to have good endgame sustained damage, but can't get there until you get to those prototype weapons. Number 4, good upgradeability. Now, one of the only downsides I would say to the Pulse Cannon as a sustained damage weapon is that its accuracy is low. It has a wide cone of fire, and that brings down its accuracy fairly significantly. And that might be why you see higher damage values in this weapon, possibly more of a damage value potential than actual damage values. However, I think its damage is still pretty spot on with those damage values, and it gets even better in its upgrade process because the whole upgrade process is about bringing that cone of fire down, which will keep your accuracy better and allow you to even hit better further away, which is a huge benefit. The carbines actually have medium accuracy, and when you upgrade this, you get pretty close, I would say, to that same level of accuracy with the pulse cannons. So even one of its shortcomings is something that it works as you upgrade to eliminate or at least alleviate. So it's another reason why this is a solid weapon. All right, guys, those are the reasons that I think the Pulse Cannon is a good weapon, especially in the sustained damage category. Do you agree or disagree? Feel free to let me know below. Let me also know if there's other things that you want to see next in the Is It Good series, and we will see you out there on the battlefield.